Hi, we're going to do Job. This time we're taking the Old Testament. Job chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. It's actually spelled Job, but we all know it's Job, right? And that man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. 7 sons and 3 daughters were born to him. His possessions include 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys. In addition, he had a very great household. Thus he was the greatest of all the people in the east. Now his sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one in turn, and they would send an invite their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. When the days of their feasting were finished, Job would send for them and sanctify them. He would get up early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job thought, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's customary practice. Verse 6. Now the day came when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also arrived among them. The Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" And Satan answered to the Lord, "From roving about on the earth, from walking back and forth across it." So the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, one who fears God and turns away from evil." Then Satan answered to the Lord, "Is it for nothing that Job fears God? Have you not made a hedge around him and his household and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his livelihood have increased in the land. But extend your hand and strike everything he has, and he will no doubt curse you to your face." So the Lord said to Satan, "All right, then everything he has is in your power. Only do not extend your hand against the man himself." So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. His health, sanity, and all that should be intact, but his material things were up for grabs. Verse 13. Now the day came when Job's sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And a messenger came to Job, saying, "The oxen were plowing, and the donkeys were grazing beside them, and the Sabeans swooped down and carried them all away, and they killed the servants with the sword. So only I alone, escaped to tell you." While this one was still speaking, another messenger arrived and said, "The fire of God has fallen from heaven and has burned up the sheep and the servant. It has consumed them, and only I, escaped to tell you." While this one was still speaking, another messenger arrived and said, "The Chaldeans formed 3 bands and made a raid on the camels and carried them all away, and they killed the servants with the swords, and only I, escaped to tell you." While this was still speaking, another messenger arrived and said, "Your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house, and suddenly a great wind swept across the wilderness and struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell on the young people, and they died. And only I, escaped to tell you." Then Job got up and tore his robe. He shaved his head, and he threw himself down with his face to the ground, and he said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return there. The Lord gives, the Lord takes away. May the name of the Lord be blessed." In all this, Job did not sin, nor did he charge God with moral impropriety. Chapter 2. Again, the day came when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also arrived among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said to Satan, "Where have you come from?" And Satan answered to the Lord, "From roving about on the earth, and from walking back and forth across it." Then the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? For there is no one like him on the earth, a pure and upright man, one who fears God and turns away from evil. And he still holds firmly to his integrity, so that you stirred me up to destroy him without reason. But Satan said to the Lord, skin for skin indeed. A man will give up all that he has to save his life. But extend your hand and strike his bone and his flesh, and he will not doubt curse you to the face. So the Lord said to Satan, all right, he is in your power, only preserve his life. So now you can affect his health, but not his life. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord, and he afflicted Job with a malignant ulcer from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Job took a shard of broken pottery to scrape himself with while he was sitting among the ashes. Then his wife said to him, are you still holding firmly to your integrity? Curse God and die. But he replied, you're talking like one of the godless women would do. Should we receive what is good from God, or not also receive what is evil? In all this, Job did not sin by what he said. Verse 11. When Job's 3 friends heard about all this calamity that had happened to him, each of them came from his own country. Eliphaz, the Temanite, Bildad, the Shuhite, and Zophar, the Naamathite. They met together to come to show sympathy for him and to console him. But when they gazed intently from a distance but did not recognize him, they began to weep loudly. Each of them tore their clothes, and they threw dust into the air over their heads. Then they sat down with him on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights. Yet no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his pain was very great. Job chapter 3. Job regrets his birth. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day he was born. Job spoke up and said, let the day on which I was born perish, and the night that said a man has been conceived, that day let it be darkness. Let not God on high regard it, nor let light shine on it. Let darkness and the deepest shadow claim it. Let a cloud settle on it. Let whatever blackens the day terrify it. That night let darkness seize it. Let it not be included among the days of the year. Let it not enter among the number of the months. Indeed, let that night be barren. Let no shout of joy penetrate it. Let those who curse the day curse it, those who are prepared to rouse Leviathan. Let its morning stars be darkened. Let it wait for daylight, but find none. Nor let it see the first days of dawn. Because it did not shut the doors of my mother's womb on me, nor did it hide trouble from my eyes. Why do I not die at birth? Why did I not die at birth? And why did I not expire as I came out of the womb? Why did the knees welcome me? And why were there 2 beasts that I might nurse at home? For now I would be lying down and would be quiet. I would be asleep and then at peace with kings and counselors of the earth, who built for themselves places now desolate, or with princes who possessed gold, who filled their palaces with silver. Or why am I not buried like a stillborn infant, like infants who have never seen the light? There the wicked cease from turmoil, and there the weary are at rest. There the prisoners relax together, and they do not hear the voice of the oppressor. Small and great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why does God give light to one who is in misery, and life to those whose soul is bitter? To those who wait for death that does not come and search for it more than for hidden treasures, who rejoice even to jubilation, who and are exultant when they find the grave. Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, and whom God has hedged in? For my sighing comes in place of my food, and my groaning flow forth like water. For the very things I dreaded has happened to me, and what I feared has come upon me. I have no ease, I have no quietness, I cannot rest. Turmoil has come upon me. He lost everything, even his health, but his life. Chapter 4, Job chapter 4. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, If someone should attempt a word with you, will you be patient? But who can refrain from speaking? Look, you have instructed many, you have strengthened feeble hands. Your words have supported those who stumbled, and you have strengthened the knees that gave way. But now the same thing comes to you, and you are discouraged. It strikes you, and you're terrified. It's not your piety, your confidence, and your blameless ways your hope. Call to mind now, who being innocent ever perished? And where were upright people ever destroyed? Even as I have seen those who plowed iniquity, and those who sowed trouble reap the same. By the breath of God they perish, and by the blast of his anger they are consumed. There is the roaring of the lion and the growling of the young lion, but the teeth of the young lions are broken. The mighty lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. While he had wealth, he made good relationships, because here in his worst moment, he still have friends who would grieve with him and sit with him and remind him of the good person he is. Am I preaching? No, I'm reading. Okay, Job chapter 4 verse 12. Now a word was stealthily brought to me, and my ear caught a whisper of it. In the trouble of thoughts, of the dreams in the night, when a deep sleep falls on men, dread gripped me and trembling, which made all my bones shake. Then a breath of air passes by my face, and it makes the hair of my flesh stand up. It stands still, but I cannot recognize its appearance. An image is before my eyes, and I hear a murmuring voice. Is a mortal man righteous before God? In Lent, we remember our mortality. We're in Lent season now. And in verse 17 says, is a mortal man righteous before God? And attributes folly to his angels. How much more of those who live in houses of clay, whose foundation is in the dust, who are crushed like a moth? They are troubled between morning and evening. They perish forever without anyone regarding it. Is not their excess wealth taken away from them? They die, yet without attaining wisdom. Chapter 5. Call now. Is there anyone who will answer? To which of the holy ones will you turn? For wrath kills the foolish person, and anger slays the silly one. I myself have seen the fool taking root, but suddenly I curse this place of residence. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed at the place where judgment is rendered. Nor is there anyone to deliver them. The hungry eat up his harvest and take it even from behind the thorns, and the thirsty pant for his wealth. For evil does not come up from the dust, nor does trouble spring up from the ground. But people are born to trouble as surely as the sparks fly upwards. But as for me, I would seek God, and to God I will set forth my case. He does so. As for me and my house, will serve the Lord. This is Job chapter 5 verse 8. It says, but as for me, I would seek God, and to God I would set forth my case. He does great and unsearchable things, marvelous things without number. He gives rain on the earth and sends water on the fields. He sets the lowly on high, that those who mourn are raised to safety. He frustrates the plans of the crafty, so that their hands cannot accomplish what they had planned. He catches the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the cunning is brought to a quick end. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope about in the noontime as if it were night. So he saves from the sword that comes from his mouth, even the poor from the hand of the powerful. Thus the poor have hope, and iniquity shuts its mouth. Therefore, blessed is the man who God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty. For he wounds, but also bandages. He strikes, but his hand also heals. He will deliver you from 6 calamities. Yes, in 7 no evil will touch you. In time of famine, he will redeem you from death, and in time of war, from the power of the sword. You will be protected from malicious gossip. You will not be afraid of the destruction when it comes. You will laugh at destruction and famine, and need not be afraid of the beasts of the earth. For you will have a pact with the stones of the field, and the wild animals will be at peace with you. And you will know that your home will be secure, and when you inspect your domains, you will not be missing anything. You will also know that your children will be numerous, and your descendants like the grass of the earth. You will come to your grave in a full age, as stacks of grain are harvested in their season. Look, we have investigated this, so it is true. Hear it and apply it for your own good. Chapter 6. Then Job responded, "Oh, if only my grief could be weighed, and my misfortune laid on the scales too. But because it is heavier than the sand of the sea, that is why my words have been wild. From the arrows of the Almighty are within me. My spirit drinks their poison. God's sudden terror are arrayed against me. Does the wild donkey pray when it is near grass, or does the ox bellow over its fodder? Can food that is tasteless be eaten without salt, or is there any taste in white of an egg? I have refused to touch such things. They are like loathsome food to me. Oh, that my request would be realized, and that God would grant me what I long for, and that God will be willing to crush me, that he would let loose in his hand and kill me. Then I would yet have my comfort, that I would rejoice in spite of pitiless pain. For I have not concealed the word of the Holy One. What is my strength that I should wait? And what is my end that I should prolong my life? Is my strength like that of stones, or is my flesh made of bronze? Is my power to help myself nothing? And has not every resource been driven from me?" But it's amazing. As resources are removed from you by the people that control it, you come into some resource that nobody can touch. It only comes from God. Anyway, verse 14, chapter 6, verse 14, Job. To the one in despair, kindness should come from his friend, even if he forsake the fear of the Almighty. My brothers have been as treacherous as a seasonal stream, and as the riverbed of the intermittent streams that flow away. They are dark because of ice. Snow is piled up over them. Snow is piled up over them. When they are scorched, they dry up. When it is hot, they vanish from their place. Caravans turn aside from their routes, and they go into the wasteland and perish. The caravans of Tema looked intently for these streams. The traveling merchants of Sheba hoped for them. They were distressed because each one had been so confident. They arrived there but were disappointed, for now you have become like these streams that are no help. You see a terror, you are afraid. Have I ever said, "Give me something," and from my fortune gifts in my favor? Or deliver me from the power and the enemy's power, and from the hand of tyrants ransom me? Teach me, and I, for my part, will be silent. Explain to me how I have been mistaken, How painful are honest words! But what does your reproof prove? Do you intend to criticize mere words and treat the words of a despairing man as wind? Yes, you would grumble for the fatherless and auction off your friend. Now then, be good enough to look at me, and I will not lie to your face. Relent. Let there be no falsehood. Consider, for my righteousness is intact. Is there any falsehood on my lip? Can my mouth not discern evil things? Chapter 7. Does not humanity have hard service on earth? Are not their ways also like the days of a hired man? Like a servant longing for the evening shadow, and like a hired man looking for his wages. Thus I have made to inherit. Thus I have been made to inherit months of futility and nights of sorrow, and have been appointed to me. If I lie down, I say, when will I rise? And the night stretches on, and I toss and turn relentlessly until the day dawns. My body is clothed with worms and dirty scraps. My skin is broken and festering. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without hope. Remember that my life is but a breath, that my eyes will never again see happiness. The eye of him who sees me now will see no more. My eyes will look for me, but I will be gone. As a cloud is dispersed and then disappears, so the one who goes down to the grave does not come up again. He returns no more to his house, nor does this place of residence know him anymore. Therefore I will not refrain my mouth. I will speak in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. Am I the sea or the creature of the deep, that you might put me under guard? For I say, my bed will comfort me, my couch will ease my complaint. Then you scare me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I would prefer strangling and death more than life. I loathe it. I do not want to live forever. Leave me alone, for my days are a vapor. What is mankind that you make so much of them, and that you pay attention to them? Amen. Verse 17, chapter 7, verse 17 says, what is mankind that you make so much of them, and that you pay attention to them, and that you visit them every morning and try them every moment? Will you never look away from me? Will you not let me alone long enough to swallow my spittle? If I have sinned, what have I done to you, O watcher of men? Why have you set me as your target? Have I become a burden to you, and why do you not burden my transgression and take away my iniquity? For now I will lie down in the dust, and you will seek me diligently, but I will be gone. I will stop here. So I have read Job chapter 1 to 7. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.